Okay, so I usually do videos on this channel on wrestling and gaming, and that's about it. I've been meaning to do bowling related stuff on this channel, and I do have like a little thing where I talk in the background about whatever. I have like me practicing and stuff in the background, me bowling and with my buddies bowling and talking about the sport that way. And I have been meaning to do a series about not really coaching stuff because I'm not that great, but more and not vlogging stuff about uh, tournaments I go to because no one would care because I'm not a big pro, but more just stupid bowling opinions. And allow this to, and let this be the very first stupid bowling opinion that I have. And I don't really think it's that stupid, but I mean, like, that's just how it is. You can tell right here. So before I get into the announcement about USBC all of a sudden just all of a sudden banning, may as well be banning 6 bowling balls from a number of events, as you can see in the clip of the article here, which I have in the description, by the way, from Creating the Difference, awesome bowling channel. Please follow it and stuff. I want to talk about, and this is going to be a very sincere video, and I might get a little emotional here. Bowling's been a part of my life since I was 6 years old. Actually, here, let me grab something. This right here is a candlepin bowling ball. If you can tell, here, let me pull it up. These belong to my grandfather, a set of 4. So, candlepin was the very first time I ever was introduced to the sport of bowling. And it was for what it was worth, I mean, I don't know how much a 6-year-old kid can bond with his grandfather, but it was a point of bonding for my grandparents and my folks and everything like that. And before I walked away from the sport because I thought it wasn't cool enough, I was actually extremely good at bowling. In fact, I have, or had, I don't know where it is now, a trophy where I bowled a candlepin game of 120. Anyone who's bowled candlepin knows that 120 is pretty much the equivalent to a 200 in 10-pin bowling. And I was 6 years old, okay? And my first 200 in regular bowling, I shot that with a spare ball at the age of 12. So I had a future in the sport, but I walked away because the culture of the school that I was around looked at bowling as, the fat boys sport. Fat kids play that. So, I didn't like being a fat kid, so I wanted to go out and try and play baseball, which that didn't work out because I wasn't disciplined enough at the time to lose the weight necessary to be a good ball player. Same with the positions I wanted to play. I wanted to play right field, but I was too fat and short and slow for right field. So I wanted to pitch because I was a big fan of pitchers back then. The ones in the late '80s and the early '90s. The Randy Johnsons and the Kevin Browns and the Greg Maddoxes and John Smoltz and to some extent Dave Stieb, which Secret Base has done a really good video essay series about him. I very briefly remember Dave Stieb, that kind of stuff. So I really was like, man, I could be one of those guys. I love it's really I really liked throwing stuff when I was young. So I'm like, all right. But I was too afraid of the ball getting hit towards me at over 100 miles an hour. So, long story short, I picked up bowling back again in my early 20s. And it was in college. Bowled for U Florida, which back then I don't know how their program is now, but their program was god awful in 2005. Well, not god awful. We had a couple of good bowlers, but you know, we had two okay bowler, or one really good bowler, one okay bowler, and the other three of us were kind of like meh. And I was the extra. I was the sixth guy on there. It was me. It floated between me and like two and three other kids who were that kind of stuff. So, and that's when it was off to the races. And since then, since 2005, I have been bowling in leagues. I bowled for Florida State for 3 years, 2 years consecutively. Then took a whole bunch of time off. Then went back again. So, needless to say, I'm very passionate about the sport of bowling, and I wanted to pick a sport where I know I could do it into my 50s or even my 60s and still be able to, do it, uh, and not like wreck my body doing it. Now, that's up in the air. And I want to preface this by saying I'm not some big bowling authority on YouTube. I'm just some dude who hovers around a 200 average in league, okay? And my league average is actually the worst it's been since like 2011, just because I'm learning new stuff to improve so I can actually get the 220 average that I kind of want. Or to just give you the confidence to average 220 whenever I feel like it. You know what I mean? But right now it hovers between 195 and 205. Right now it's like 195. So it sucks. So I'm just some dude. I'm just some casual or amateur, casual-ish bowler who I don't have the budget to buy a new bowling ball every half of every season or whatever to own 1,000,000 bowling balls. The last new bowling ball I bought was in 2017. That should give you some perspective, okay? However, it's like I said, I'm very naturally talented at this sport. I've bowled in 2 PBA regionals. The first one I bowled at 2 years ago. Both of them were 2 years ago. The first one I bowled at, I was about 130 something pins away from cashing. And this is from me bringing only 4 bowling balls, all of them completely outdated, and having next to no rotation compared to most PBA bowlers. And I still averaged about 170-ish. It took about a 189 average to cash because it was extremely difficult. It was an extremely difficult modified cheetah pattern, bowling oil pattern. And the second one, I was 80 pins away from cashing. And at one point during the tournament, I was beating the great Walter Ray Williams Jr. by about 8 sticks, but still. And I was like 80 some odd pins away from cashing in that. Again, with outdated equipment, used equipment, nothing new, low rotation. So, I knew back then, just like I know now, that I have a future in bowling. And then this happens. So I've never been a fan of USBC. Or it used to be ABC about 20 some odd years ago. It turned to USBC in 2004. And it seems like when they turned from ABC to USBC, that's when things started to really go south. Okay? So, first, they banned balance holes in bowling balls. And for any member of my audience who isn't in the know about bowling-related stuff, so let me provide a quick explanation. This is going to be a long video, by the way. I'm gonna probably ramble on for about a good hour. So you could treat this like it's a podcast, I guess. Put it on the background while you do your chores or while you go to bed, whatever, that kind of shit. So bowling balls that have a resin surface, so not like this thing. This is just like wood. So a reactive resin bowling ball, most of them have a core. Okay, and what pro shop operators can do, or what used to be able to do, is kind of balance that core out in a pretty lazy way by putting in a balance hole, a 4th hole in a bowling ball, or a 3rd one if you don't bowl with a thumb. USB determined that That was giving certain bowlers unfair advantages, so they got rid of this. They told pro shop operators about 3 some odd years ago, my bad, in 2019, saying, hey guys, effective during the 1920 season or 2021 season, one of those two, the 1920 season, one of those two, whatever. Starting 2020, can't have balance holes. Was I okay with that? No, and I'll explain why in a little bit. And then they go on to say, hey, we don't, just like you can't put surface on a bowling ball during a competition, you shouldn't be able to clean it as well. I had a big issue with that, and I have a big issue with not being able to put surface on a bowling ball either, because guess what? Some of us don't have 8 million fucking bowling balls. Some of us can only bring 5 or 4 to a tournament, so we need to put surface on that bowling ball. I was not okay with that, but now this is where I draw the line. So the same organization I mentioned, Creating the Difference, they filmed a video where they took urethane bowling balls, I think more specific, a certain, like a few urethane bowling balls, and they adjusted the hardness level of the ball. So they threw one where it met the requirements, the hardness requirements, and then they adjusted the hardness requirements by a little bit, and then the bowling ball created more room for error with the lower hardness. The one that was softer created more room for error. So, and this all stemmed because of a pro wrestler, a pro bowler by the name of Sean Rash, was suspicious about a whole bunch of pro bowlers during his tournament that he bowled at, throwing a whole bunch of these urethane balls that were indeed too soft for competition, according to the rules, whatever. And so that stemmed from all that research, and then all of a sudden, during the Nationals, during USBC's one of their biggest tournaments of the year. In fact, I would go on to say it's their de facto biggest tournament of the year. They decide to ban those following 6 bowling balls that you see on your left. Okay? And also, if you can read this, again, this is the article from Creating the Difference. You check out that last paragraph. They're prohibited in USBC national tournaments, including but not limited to, of course it's not limited to it, the Masters, the US Open, the USBC Open Championships, the Women's Championships, all ladies bowling tour events, all PWBA, the USBC Junior Gold. So if, let's say I'll go into that later. Let's just list it. And Youth Open Championships, any given USBC College Championships, the Team USA Trials, the Senior Masters, and the Senior Queens. On that day. So let's say you have a college team, right? And they're sponsored by Storm. So they get all their stuff for free from Storm. And let's say the bowlers on your team have the balls that are listed that have been banned. And these are broke college students who are either living off financial aid, their folks, or from a part-time job, and they don't have the money to drop. They don't have the money to drop $250, or I guess it would be cut down, or it'd be at cost if you're in a college program. So it'd probably be like $90 for a brand new bowling ball that has a similar characteristics to any of those bowling balls that you see up there. What do you do then? During the national tournaments, that's the postseason. Sectionals already ended, probably. So nationals is about to start. What do you do then? What if you bring your kid to Junior Gold, and for the entire season, your kid's been throwing the Electrify Solid, or the Trend 2, or the Wolverine, and all of a sudden, those bowling balls are banned, and it's junior gold time, and now what? And that's all. And let's say you're also a very kind of low income parent, and you don't have the money to drop the $200 it would need to replace or get something similar to one of those bowling balls. What happens then? You tell me, USBC. You tell me. You tell me. And then your kid's like, then your kid who is averaging, let's say the kid's in like high school or something, and they're averaging like 210 with all those bowling balls. Now they gotta throw something that is cheaper because you don't have the money for it, and all of a sudden now you're sunk in junior gold. Well, what do you think this stuff isn't happening? It is, and I don't like it. So, and here's the deal. Do I get frustrated when I see during league bowlers who have no business throwing urethane bowling balls on my pair? Absolutely. Because I have low rotation, I'm a speed dominant player, so now during the counter all the carry down, whatever, I have to slow my ball speed down, make adjustments, everything, stuff like that. And yeah, it kind of sucks to see someone throwing, that kind of thing. Or any of these 6 bowling balls. One of which I was going to buy. I was going to buy the Electrify Solid. I needed a good medium oil piece and a good medium oil ball. And the Electrify Solid was pretty cheap. I think it was about $130. Some of these are a lot more money than others. And I was going to buy one. And I'm glad I didn't, because look at this. So there you go. So yeah, and I'm of the opinion that when it comes to bowling, we need to live and let live. Okay? What USBC is doing by putting all these restrictions on all this equipment is that they're intentionally trying to lower scores. They're intentionally trying to say to the bowlers who throw these bowling balls, hey, you're scoring too high. You're doing way better than you probably should. So we're gonna make a restriction on your equipment so that you can't throw these bowling balls anymore. So that you're gonna have to buy a new bowling ball to replace that. And now your average is gonna go down, and you won't be able to throw any honor scores probably for a while until you can readjust, which takes a while for new. If you need to replace something that's out of spec with something that's in spec. Yeah. And if any of you bowling fans think that those 6 bowling balls are not going to be banned next year completely from leagues and shit, if you can fathom that thought and say, oh no, these are only going to be banned during those little events, they're not going to be banned in leagues and stuff, I got news for you. They're going to be banned in the 22-23 season. Yes, you heard it here first. Because USBC likes doing that. They like being bureaucratic. They like to monopolize. They like to be all corporate and just ban and just create stupid restrictions with no explanation. That's their MO. So yes. And again, I'm of the belief that anything and everything should be allowed in this sport. Why? Because it's going to draw in more bowlers. If someone's throwing a phase 4 that's illegal, okay, like that's illegally drilled or something, and they shoot a perfect game in league, and then some other casual amateur is like on their pair, and they say, "Oh man, what ball is that? I want to get that." That's money. And someone just made a sale off of a bowling ball doing that. If you have someone if someone like me, and I know I'm not the only one who doesn't have the cash to go ahead and buy new equipment every like month or so. If someone like me can only bring 4 or so bowling balls to a big tournament, and they need to put some surface on it on any of their bowling balls to get a better look during play, guess what? How would that affect anything else? I said, you tell me. You tell me. You tell me. But no, it gives people an unfair advantage. Really? It does? Altering surfaces gives bowlers an unfair advantage? Right. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Awesome. That's cool. How about we ban other shit now? How about we ban everything? How about we just ban everything except polyester and urethane? Okay? No more reactive bowling balls. Take everything back to the 70s. That's what floor dumpers think. Okay? That's how floor dumping bowlers think. These guys who have a victim mentality about how the game is changing and how their approach and their way of throwing the ball is stuck in the 70s and 80s can't get used to how things are currently. Yeah. And guess what? I'm one of them. I'm not a floor dumper. I don't have those opinions because I want everyone to have everybody to have the opportunity to throw the best game they possibly can at all times. This is coming from somebody who doesn't have a high rotation, who doesn't have a high rev rate. So what does that say? All right. So, and look, check this out. And if you really think that this isn't going to affect the bowling balls that you have in your bag, if you really think this is just USBC going after Storm, which it does kind of appear that way because look, all 6 of those bowling balls, they're from the Storm family. 900 Global's owned by Storm. Rotogrip's been owned by Storm for a while. But it's not just Storm. It's going to be a whole bunch of shit. You're going to see more bowling balls get banned at higher rates. And a lot of the bowling authorities on YouTube are, I guess they're just too scared to express their full opinions about it. But I think they should. And I think it's time for us to cancel USBC. It's time for us to actually go out of our way and create an alternative. It's time for us to get together and band together and create an alternative for sponsoring, for sanctioning, instead of just USBC. It's atrocious how USBC has a monopoly on competitive bowling. I never liked it. Because I'm not a fan of monopolies because I believe in free markets. Okay? And monopolies are nothing if not like the antithesis of a free market, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Okay? And I don't preach external solutions like this, okay? Going out of your way to protest something like that. But in this case, given the small scale of bowling and given the very niche of it, and given the fact that we actually have to solve a problem to make things better in the future, I say we need to start going out of our way. I think we need to stop. We need to stop being USBC members, okay, and other stuff like that, okay. And we need to actually show this organization that we're not going to take it. That we're not going to sit by and let them make all kinds of stupid restrictions that make 0 sense. Just because scores are getting high, and a few people who are, and a few old people who are stuck in the 70s and 80s and 60s and whatever, are butthurt and living in a victim mentality because their piddly little 200 average doesn't mean anything anymore. I want scores to get higher. When I see a different bowler throw a perfect game in my house league all the time, okay, if it's not me, that's cool. I don't care. I'd love for it to be me. But guess what? I didn't throw the perfect game. The other guy did. But it's great to see that. It's great to see someone throw an 800 every third or fourth week in league. It's great to see somebody shoot honor scores left and right. One of my buddies did that, and he shot his first 800 this season. What if he was throwing one of those bowling balls that was banned, and now he can't throw it next season? My heart would break for him. One of my buddies actually has a phase 4, and he has a UFO alert. And I practiced with him yesterday, and I said to him, "Yo, dude, you may not be able to bowl that you may not be able to throw that ball next season. The chances are very high." He's like, "Yeah, no, it sucks. I don't know what's so illegal about it." And it's like, oh, well, it's deemed too soft. If a bowling ball is too soft and it's not damaging the lanes, it's not damaging the pins, it's not damaging anything else, guess what? It should be allowed. Unless a piece of equipment is causing physical damage to the equipment in a bowling center, it should be allowed. Because yes, if those 6 bowling balls were actually causing damage to the lanes that they're being thrown on, or the pins, or the pin setters, or the ball returns and stuff like that, maybe it was, whatever, that's different. Now, yes, now you have to ban them because now it's costing money to actually throw those bowling balls. You know what I mean? But that's not the case. It's not the case here. Everything should be allowed. Everything should be allowed. And the more USBC disallows stuff and gets away with it, the more they're just going to keep doing it over and over and over. They're going to keep doing it to the point where you're not going to have nearly as many options as you did the year before and then the season before that and that kind of stuff. And I don't want that for this sport. I really don't. I don't want that for this sport. And Lucas Wiseman, a pretty significant, prominent commentator for a lot of these events, a lot of these big tournaments, he's right. He published a tweet saying that bowling is in a crisis in response to this. He's right. He is right. And it sucks because now I'm at a crossroads. I wanted to enter my 40s. I'll be 40 in a month and 2 months and some change, in 3 or so months. I was going to enter my 40s and to explore the world of bowling coaching. I wanted to set out to win my very first regional PBA regional title and then go from there. Now I don't know. Now I don't know anymore. I don't even know if I'm going to be bowling in a league next year. Because stuff like this that USBC is doing, it's affecting my principles. Okay? I was able to take it when they disallowed balance holes. I'm like, okay, well, that's all right. Not cleaning your stuff in the middle of competition. I was actually really upset with that one, but I said, okay, I'll let that slide. It'll be okay, whatever. It's all good. I'll just, throw another ball, whatever. And I wasn't really taking the sport seriously enough to where I was like, all right, well, that's going to really suck. So, but now after seeing the USBC during one of their biggest events in the year ban all these bowling balls, that's where I'm drawing the line. That's where I'm drawing the line. And I think a lot of other bowling content creators on YouTube or any significant member of the bowling community ought to say the same thing. Whether it's silver and gold level coaches, local pros, national pros, international pros, you should not be ashamed to express your opinions. You really shouldn't. Because if we do not, this is going to continue. And it's going to continue because USBC only cares for one entity, and that's USBC. They don't care about the bowlers. You really think they care about the bowlers? If they cared about the bowlers, why would this happen? Why would that happen? You tell me, because I don't have a goddamn answer for it. And it makes me extremely disappointed and extremely mad that this organization can get away with doing this. And I, for one, am not going to take it. I, for one, will not take it. I got other hobbies that I can do other than bowling now. I am getting into distance running, and I was going to go to a tournament in Vegas for my 40th birthday. Now I'm saying, screw that. I'm going to run a half marathon instead. Because it'll be a better use of my time. And if I can't distance run anymore, if my knees get shot or something like that, I can always do gaming stuff. Speed running, Smash tournaments, other fighting game tournaments. You know what? I'll be the weird old guy in a crowd of kids in their 20s and stuff, but I don't give a shit. I don't understand it. And I do understand it, but I don't like it. And again, the more we speak up about this and do our part to tell USBC that we will not stand for it, That's the only way this sport's going to improve and be more accessible to more people, because that is what the goal should be in any of these kind of sports, whether it's bowling, golf, distance running, weightlifting, other stuff like that. Yeah, and other individualized sports, tennis. What else? I don't know. Whatever you can think of. Where when it comes to sports that revolve around a community, you know what I mean? More accessibility is better. In order to have more accessibility, you need to eliminate some of these really stupid rules, but still impose ones that make sense. Okay? That's what's going to happen. And I'm going to be sharing this video. I'm actually going to go on Twitter. I hate Twitter. I hate everything about it, but I actually have to fucking do it because there's no other way I'm going to be able to get my point across, my message across, because I'm just a piddly, I'm just a speck, I'm just a pixel. But if I can get someone's attention who has a bigger following than me, who can actually agree with my opinions, then I think we're going to make a significant change. Because this needs to end. USBC needs to stop doing this kind of shit. And by God, come hell or high water, I will make it happen. I will make it happen, or I'll walk away from the sport permanently. Again, this isn't 15 years ago anymore. I'm not pushing 25 anymore, where like speedrunning was just like a really underground thing. Now it's easy to do speedruns. And I wasn't disciplined enough to do distance running, but now I enjoy it. I just ran a 5K before doing this, and of course I showered up and stuff, but whatever. But point being is that I have other fun hobbies that I can do now. And I don't want to walk away. I don't. It'll break my heart into pieces if I walk away. I'll have to take a day off and cry on my bowling balls. And I'll have to tell my grandfather, rest his soul, that I'm sorry that the sport that bonded us isn't an option for me anymore. Unless I move back to Massachusetts and I get to do canoeing again. But I don't know if I'm going to do that. I might, though. We'll see. But anyways, that's it. That's all I want to say about this. Again, it's just my opinion. Okay? It's a stupid bowling opinion. Alright? I'm not afraid to make fun of myself. But I think, that notwithstanding, USBC, we need to start taking steps to cancel USBC. Because I'm done with, I can't support what they stand for. I can't. And I've had it up to here. Alright. Thank you for watching / listening. If you follow my channel for my other stuff, you'll be seeing a wrestling related video pretty soon. A Joseph Remembers. I was going to make one last month, but I don't know. I was way too damn busy. I will talk about the career and life of Scott Hall. I know he died, and that's oof, jeez. Oh, stuff like that. Speedrunning stuff, that's on my Twitch now, but you'll be seeing some speedruns on this channel for sure. Yeah, so have fun with that. Speedrun breakdowns, I'm going to do those. I'm going to do another one for River City Girls, so if you enjoyed that, then get ready for another one, because I just PB'd, and I started utilizing a new skip in River City Girls. You see what I mean? I can talk about speedrunning just as much as bowling now. Shit. So get ready for another one of those, another speedrun breakdown. And at the I don't know about the end of the month. Sometime during this month, I'm going to do a speedrun breakdown of Final Fantasy IX, because I'm very close to hitting another PB in that game. One that's actually filmed and ready to watch. So that's going to be cool. I cannot wait to do that. Anyways, thank you for listening. Please, if you got this video and you're like a significant member of the bowling community, or if you have a larger audience than me and you have more clout, than I do, please spread this message. We can't allow USBC to keep doing what they're doing. We can't. Not if the sport of bowling is going to be respected. Not if we want more bowlers to come in and enjoy this fantastic sport that has been nothing if not a massive boon to my mental health. Okay? Because bowling has gotten me out of my shell. It's turned me from a shy introvert who only used one word and one phrase answers to to be able to become an outgoing social butterfly who gets along with everybody. I have the sport of bowling to thank for that. And I don't want it to get taken away from me. But if USBC keeps doing stuff like this, I'm going to have to walk away out of principle. I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. All right. Take care, everybody.